Welcome back, everybody. Today, well, this evening, or last night, Mark Hammond and MH did some more Doppler measurements on the satellites, and we believe in high confidence, very high confidence, that we are Object C. And so I notified 18 SPS about that today. They do have to verify it before we will appear in the catalog. And so knowing what object for sure to track, I'm going to do some more commands tonight to try to see if I can get a response from RadFXSat-2. We had been, as I mentioned, pointing generally using Object M, which is still, I believe, what's in NASA Bear, showing as RadFXSat-2, but I'm going to be using Object C, which I have renamed to RadFXSat-2, and giving it some commands. So we're making progress in it. Having the satellite ID is very important to the mission. That's part of the mission process. And of course, then recovery is next. Here we go. So it's currently at about 5.5 degrees elevation, and I keep forgetting the microphone's here and not back there, so I don't have to talk louder this way. Yeah, about 6.5 degrees elevation. So I'm going to begin sending some sequences of commands to see if you'll watch the, how should I do it? Right over there. How about that? The waterfall on the 9700. I'm going to be looking for a beacon in response to the commands, and I'll commence that here now. It is especially with the different object here, max elevation on this pass shows to be 73 degrees, so it is about as up as you can get for the altitude that it's at. It's 504 kilometers right now. We're also looking, we looked a little earlier tonight to see if we could help out CUBASE. CUBASE is another of the missions that flew on this launch, this Alana 20 launch, and they are having trouble detecting their beacon. If you want to chime in looking for them in the same, somewhere in this group of objects, they'd appreciate the help. Let me see if I can see what their frequency was. They are saying that their beacon should be at 437.275 megahertz. That's 437.275. It's FM Morse code, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, over the continental US only, and with the call sign Whiskey Juliet 2, X-ray Foxtrot Quebec, stroke. No, that's not right. Can't read. Whiskey Juliet 2, X-ray Foxtrot Kilo, stroke Quebec, WJ2 XFK, stroke Q. So I've passed TCA. I'm going to send another command attempt here. Haven't seen anything on the waterfall, but I will look back at that on the video when I'm done. And for all of you out there who are seeking the beacon, keep seeking the beacon, because that's what we're looking for now. The camera won't stay focused, will it? For some reason, it wants to keep going to autofocus. I don't want it to go to autofocus, but it does. Not seeing anything. One of the things about the object identification for 18 SPS, which also known as space track, is that there are a number who are not certain, excuse me, certain who what their object is, and so we all help each other, especially when there's difficulty finding a signal, or of course, AMSAT is always offering help to any amateur radio or related partners on the launch that are in the amateur band, and that's what we do to try to get them all sorted out so everybody knows who they are, and that then of course lends itself to the opportunity of being able to work with the satellite. As they spread out, it becomes a little bit easier, but you're wanting to dig in and get at it sooner, of course. This is a good pass. The elevations for me at this time of night have been wonderful. Anywhere from 60 couple degrees, 62 or so, but then when we switched objects, like I said, now this one's up to 73 max elevation, so it's very helpful for commanding and listening. With the commanding I'm doing, it is presuming that the IHU is not turned on, as we have not been able to see a beacon so far, and yet the transponder is operating very, with very weak signals, which, by the way, please keep the transponder clear, because that power that will go into the transponder passband by any users takes away from the power to the beacon, which obviously both the transponder and the beacon are going to be very weak. The beacon weaker than the transponder, or at least the signals we see there, because of course everybody's hitting it with a high power signal as we were doing our look, and so the high power signal being visible is many times the power of what is in the beacon. But this round of commanding is presuming that the IHU is turned off, and therefore the repetition and the wait between the commands is looking for the transponder to, or excuse me, the IHU to turn on and boot up and start taking data and sending a beacon. So that's why there's kind of a big pause between each set of transmissions I'm making. And might get one more in before it goes over the horizon, and leave it for the rest of the world to look for the beacon overnight. And then the day Drew crew comes in, I think and they'll pick up on the early morning passes. They're getting pretty early too, over on the East Coast there, I guess. Me, I can do the evening or late night ones because I was born that way. Besides, it's the only time I'm not getting a bunch of emails and phone calls because everybody else is asleep. This one's right down at the horizon, so it'll be about, I'm coming down to about 1 degree here, so I'll just get it through before it disappears. And there we go. So nice birdie there, huh? So that's it. That's the show for tonight. Again, it's the progress is slow. You got to understand that. The progress is, because the condition is unknown, we have to move through determining what condition, what state we're in, as well as what we can do from that state, or what we, what changes we can do, like what I was doing this evening, in order to advance slowly, because we don't know how we got to the state. We have to be careful about how we get out of the state. If you start doing things rapidly, or making assumptions especially, and not taking some time to think about it and look at the whole picture of what your data is, well, for example, like making sure we know what object it is to be able to make sure that we can hit it with the best signal, and also listen with the best opportunity to hear that beacon. So it'll take a little bit of time, but it's all part of the process. Heck, if they all worked perfectly every time, it'd get boring. That's all. Have a good night.